What is up, guys? N64Slayer here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to avoid Ramageddon and the newly Am4flation in 2026. So I'm going to show you an AM4 build that will support something like a 9060 XT 16 gig or 8 gig, and then your 9070, 5070, 9070 XT, whatever, 5070 Ti, whatever you have. So we're going to just start off with the AM4 build. So the 5800 XT is what I went for the CPU. Now you can go for a Ryzen 5500, which will not be very good if you're going for any of the GPUs I just mentioned. I would go for more something like a 3060 or something around the 3060, 5060 range, like 8 gig or lower, 5050. But for the builds, like an average build, we have the 5800 XT, and this is going for $219. I'm going to do the calculations right now. So we're going to clear this. So we have 219. We'll just round to 220. And then this is the board I chose. This board I chose because it's really popular, and it's very similar to the Am5 setup that I'm going to show you in a minute. It's $220. That's pretty reasonable. You can get one for about $100, but it won't give you the same things. Like, it didn't even have heat sinks on the M.2s. Like, I'm not gonna buy that board ever. So we get $100, and then we're going to add. This is the RAM. So I chose a DDR4 16 gig kit, 3200 megahertz. This would be perfectly fine for gaming. If you need a little more, the prices are bad. Probably just don't. Or buy two of the same kit. I wouldn't necessarily go for a 32 gig kit. But here's what we have, 115. So it would cost $435 for the setup. That's pretty bad. That's pretty terrible, if we're being honest. But it's Am4flation, Ramflation. It's not good for the Am4 platform right now. Now, we have the 7500F. This is a $140 CPU typically. Newegg, it's $142. AliExpress, there is a $20 coupon you can get on this. So it'll cut your price down from $138 to $118. But Newegg is probably going to be more reliable. This is but it isn't sold by Newegg themselves, unfortunately. So to be honest, it's probably not any more reliable than AliExpress. So just save your $20 and buy it on AliExpress probably. So we're gonna get the math calculator. We'll say best case scenario 118, and then the 7500F on Newegg is obviously gonna be a little more. And here's the RAM I chose. This RAM is out of stock right now, but hopefully it'll be back in stock. It was $155. It's a CL40 16 gig kit, 5200 megahertz or megatransfers difference. If you buy or find a 5200 megahertz or mega transfers kit from anywhere from $150 to $180, you're in the gold. I would pick that up as soon as you can. Here's one on eBay. It's the same kit, just RGB. It's on a bid right now, so obviously, depending on how the bid goes, it's going to be more or less. Well, it can't be less, but you know what I mean. So we're going to add that. 155. It was 155 last week. That's the price I saw, so that's the price we're going with. Now, Here's the board I chose. This is an open box from Newegg. Obviously, if you don't want to go open box, you can spend the extra $40. But this $40 saving will allow us to completely upgrade platforms. So, and still have roughly the same price point. And we're going to add our $120 here. So this is $393 versus what we had before, which was $435 for the Am4 platform. Now you tell me which is the better deal. I mean, this is pretty obvious here. Anyone with a brain would go with the AM5 system. But obviously, if you want to buy it on Newegg, it's going to be another $24 for the CPU. And if you want to buy a brand new board, it's going to be another $40. But then again, you still look at this price, $457 versus $435. Are you telling me you wouldn't spend the extra $20 to get a completely upgraded platform? You're just insane. You're just insane if you're buying AM4. Now, here's a benchmark test. This benchmark I do not like. This one's bad. But this is what we have. I even said not a huge fan of this test. Makes the 5800 XT look really good because of the high RAM speeds, and make the 7500F look bad because of the 6400 megahertz RAM forces it into a 2-to-1 memory clock ratio, which, if you don't know what that means, any meg transfers over 6000 megahertz on AM5 will offset your memory clock ratio, which significantly increases latency between the CPU and the RAM, and that significantly decreases performance. So, I mean, if we had a 5200 megahertz kit that was CO40 and a 6400, they're probably going to be about the same performance. Now, obviously, the 6400 is going to be in things like, I don't know, video editing or whatever else you're doing. But during gaming, it really doesn't matter. So, yeah. I said I'd love to see this test again with 3200 versus 6000. And also, the 5800 XT looks good because it's running 3800 megahertz RAM. Now, you can't find a 3800 megahertz kit for anywhere cheap, or at least it's a little bit more expensive. But here's the test. So we're just gonna play it a little bit. I mean, the difference there is pretty big. Quite a big difference. This one's not too much, but either way, I mean, you're outperforming a 5800 XT. So, like, alright, I think you get the point. But, and then here I have the average AM5 or AM4 and AM5 PCs that people are building right now. It's just CPU, RAM, and motherboard. That's all I'm going off of, because that's all that differentiates the platforms, you know what I mean? So here, the average CPU bought on Amazon is the 5800 XT. So that's what I went with. We're gonna do the math on this one too. 220 plus. And then next up is the RAM. 2000, bought this in the past month. This RAM is super expensive. This is bad. This is like it's outrageous territory. But this is the highest seller, so this is the one I chose. 262. And then this is the motherboard. There was one that was a little cheaper, but since you have a 5800 XT and I kind of wanted to keep the motherboard similar for the video, you can maybe save $40 here if you go for a different motherboard. But you're running a high-end CPU, you're gonna probably want a little bit better of a motherboard. Something cheap isn't really gonna help you. It's gonna, in fact, from what I've seen, motherboard does matter on performance, especially if it's one of those really cheap ones. So a B450 or even a really low-end B550 is probably not going to be very good. And if it doesn't have good heat sinks, I wouldn't buy it either, because those significantly decrease your thermals, or increase your thermals and then decrease your clocks. So the price we got here was $620, which isn't, that's pretty bad. That's terrible, but that's the world we live in right now. So the average CPU on Amazon bought was the 9600X for $192. Now this is obviously going to outperform the 5800 XT by a wide margin. Like, it's not even going to be close. And then we have this Crucial RAM kit, CL36 6000. It's a really nice kit. The brand I'm not a fan of, though. If you know anything about RAM in the past 5 months, you know why. But it's the most bought set. So 326, 518. Not good looks, but hey, we're on track for the Am4 PC. So Asus TUF B650 plus Wi-Fi. This is a really good board, really good heat sinks, it seems. And I mean, it's roughly the same. It has heat sinks on the M.2 slots, so that's a plus. That's all that I really care about. As long as it has that at the bare minimum, I know it's going to be a decent board. 138, 139, I guess. So 657 versus our 620. Would you not pay the extra $35, $37 for a completely upgraded platform, way better CPU, way better RAM, roughly the same motherboard? Yeah, no. Get Am4 is not a good idea in 2026. It's just not. It wasn't in 2025. It's not in 2026. So all these people, like all these tech YouTubers saying Am4, 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 they're wrong. They're just wrong. Now, is there exceptions? Yes, there's very much exceptions. If you buy something more like a 3600 or a 5500 CPU and you get dirt cheap RAM. I mean, this RAM is a little on the higher end. $114. They used to be about $100. They're going up in price now. If you got a 5500 for, it's $90 on Amazon right now. $100 RAM. And let's say you get a board for $100. Now, $290, that's a pretty good price. But also, that CPU is not going to be good. And then, like, let's take into account that we're buying a 8400F. An 8400F is roughly equivalent to the 5500. And that goes for roughly 100. I've seen prices vary so much on the CPU. It's kind of nuts. I've seen it anywhere from $60 brand new to $140 brand new. We'll go right in the middle and say it's $100. And then $100, and then our RAM was 155, and our board is 120. 375 versus 290. It's a completely different platform. It's going to perform better than the 5500, and you're going to save money. Okay, that money you're saving on the motherboard, the CPU, and the RAM, if you need to upgrade your computer at all in the next 10 years, that's a lot of savings. Just by spending the extra $80 and you're getting better performance. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and it was super educational, informative, whatever. I'd appreciate if you like and subscribed. I will do some benchmarks on. I have this PC I recently built. It's like $700 PC. This was pre-Ramageddon, so the prices right now are insane. The PC I paid $700 for 6 months ago would now be well over $1,400, double the price at least. So please like and subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.